Good day, viewers, readers, watchers, and listeners. I pray all is well out there. We're going to continue with the book entitled The Sacraments of Eternity. When we last were together, we were in the episode. I don't know why I always look it up because it's hilarious. It's the same. It's still eternity. And I knew that. We are still in the chapter, eternity. And we will continue within that chapter. Let us continue. Let us resume play. Let us begin. Disciple. People can't wait to see their space brothers. Could you please answer briefly how will it all look like? Teacher. In one summer night, a bright flash will appear in the sky. The sky will be lit up for several hours. Not everyone will stand this kind of sight. After that, you'll hear a noise similar to the roar of the wind, and then the sky show will start. Several dozens of aircraft with various configurations and sizes will fly in the great space before your eyes. It will last several days. Then some of the aircraft will land. Of course, the contact will be short. It's difficult to predict the dialogue between two parties, but one thing is for sure. All of this will be treated positively, without any sign of aggression towards each other. Have no doubts, for it will be so, and it's just around the corner, and it's getting closer every day. Disciple. In the Verity of the Lord chapter, I wasn't given the information on politics, but the politics had an impact on your name and other things. Teacher. Yes, I was crucified not as a Messiah, but as the Antichrist and the false prophet. It is one side of the so-called politics, since church benefited from it. If then they had recognized me as God, they would have lost the respect of the people, so to say. I was accused in all sorts of crimes, ranging from violation of the commandment to the fact that I allegedly destroyed temples with my teaching. These spiritual politicians had one desire: to get rid of me as quick as possible. They have done their dirty business, but miscalculated, because the number of my followers was growing, and no politics could stop this process, let alone kill the faith, because it's impossible to destroy such faith. Of course, I understand that many people suffered from those heartless politicians. Some even made a fortune, and some were suffering. I think that those who suffered, they don't regret it because their suffering was for the glory of the Verity, which will award every decent person with its immortality. That is why in these books, I'm asking all decent people to believe in God's everything, because by listening to their teacher, they can reach outstanding results, which will be devoted to the decent things. The human mind and humans themselves shape their self with their actions. A human searches for himself, predicting himself. In his dreams, he can go to other galaxies and planets. The interest guides human, and it's pulling a human into the world of useful knowledge. It's always nice to see such people. If such a person turns his soul to God, it looks even more incredible. Disciple. Extraterrestrial civilizations will come to Earth from one or many planets. It is interesting to know what innovations they will bring to improve our earthly life. Teacher. Visits will be from different galaxies and numerous planets. The leader of this team will be Captain Dominus from the Vilfaloni planet, because this planet is much closer to the Earth than the others by certain parameters. This visit won't cause any harm to the people of Earth. Only good, truly good, will visit you, because you are like little kids and you need to be taught and taught to be wise. Sorry, but your stupidity is in your disbelief. And this all is God's, and it should be respected. Weapons aside, bad thoughts aside too, no need to welcome them with bread and salt, because they won't understand that. As for innovations, there will be some. A cure against cancer will be given, though only a few people will know it. But your upper class won't allow others to believe those few. Struggling humanity will accept this cure when there will be no way out. Only when there will be no other way out will the cure be accepted. I have repeated many times before, and now I can say that you all will fall into the abyss, for you just folded your arms and do nothing to save yourself. Greed controls you. I once told you, woe unto you, the rich, because you see neither in front or behind you. All this will come true. This is a terrible phenomenon, and I do not see any joy of life in this. But it must be in each of you, because life in the entire cosmos is not a bribe. It is a life which has both birth and immortality. All of these things will be told in detail by such commerce as Anastasia and others who hear me. If you can believe it all, then Captain Dominus sends you, earthlings, his greetings. I understand that understanding all this is both easy and difficult, but there are limits. For example, patience, which will eventually bring understanding. Most importantly, do not be afraid of your visible and invisible life, which is yours too, since you are VEO. Also, and you will be it. Alexander, you are a demon to some, but remember, for me, you are my only rock here on earth, as well as your family. 3 years ago, I told you that you believe in me, and he who was praising me and dragging you through the mud, he is a demon, as these are people who are preaching the verity but do not believe in me, so they are possessed by the devil. In your century, there were many prophets. You don't even know their names, because your system caught them. And here, At the end of the millennium, Alexander Namkin appears. You appear. Anastasia appeared. Then Elizabeth will come and do so much good for people they can't even dream of. Now, I'll give you an example from my personal life. It was a long time ago in Nazareth. A man came up to me. I looked at him closely and understood right away that he is an elder. He was wise, I'd say beyond his years. He also looked closely at me, smiled, stepped aside, and thought about something. And only after that, he said these words. You are a prophet. I believe in it. I've even seen myself and believe that there are fiery chariots. Once you are a prophet, how can you prove to me that unusual things exist? I agreed with him, and at the same time, I don't even know what happened to me, but I couldn't say a single word. Suddenly, it dawned on me, and I heard my Father's voice. Jesus, fly like a bird over him. And I did so. I took off the ground. The elder got down from surprise, but I already stood beside him. I immediately asked him, are you satisfied? Since I did what you asked for. He immediately ran away, shocked without even saying his name. Understand, it happened, but it was not included in any of the chapters of the New Testament. The human mind and humans themselves shape their self with their actions. A human searches for himself, predicting himself. In his dreams, he can go to other galaxies and planets. The interest guides human, and it's pulling a human into the world of useful knowledge. It's always nice to see such people. If such a person turns his soul to God, it looks even more incredible. Disciple. Extraterrestrial civilizations will come to Earth from one or many planets. It is interesting to know what innovations they will bring to improve our earthly life. The wish of your soul is to touch God, and it's not a burden. Since its birth, the soul reaches out to God, but it remembers about its body as well. And here you are, people. Open your hearts before the one who's knocking at the door. Understand that an ordinary man does it, but disbelievers who don't serve to the faith will never open their hearts. For they would know what they would lower themselves, and their daily bread would be lost. In general, I'm sorry for those people, because they don't see me. Their thoughts are destroying them, and they are yelling, that's devilry. Yes, this delusion does exist. Yes, this delusion does exist. It's building itself and destroying itself in this disbelief, misbelief. Find at least one priest who would recognize the name of Jesus, but no, there are none. Now, if I come to them and say that I am the Lord's Christ, they would crucify me again, since only a few feel the true verity. You are my disciple, and I'm pushing you forward, but look how difficult it is. And still, I hear dirty words. But I'm beyond that. Imagine that my hand, the hand of spiritual power, is always beside those whom I've chosen. Those who would humiliate me, my ambassadors or me, would burn in hell. 474 years before my son was born, I spoke to Moses. I still remember that day. It was a Friday. When he heard me, he turned pale. I reassured and told him, Moses, believe me, it's not your imagination. You hear your God. I'm standing before you in my flames. Put your staff on the ground and you will see a miracle. He put it and saw something unbelievable. I understand that it was hard for him, but what can you do? You've got to start from someplace. I showed him all sorts of miracles until he believed in my veracity. He was looking for himself and for me during 7 long years. Sometimes I felt sorry for him, but I saw him. And here's my energy, or my divine flesh, gave him the opportunity to prove himself. He tried to prove all the people that he hears God, though even his brother laughed at him. Moses suffered. I understand that he was hurt. He was simmering, but he saw and felt everything. And I then decided to open up myself to him as his Lord. Moses fell down, then sat up and said, "Oh God, I believed in you, but why do I feel so bad?" I told him that this would soon pass. I asked him to close his eyes and said, "Moses, everything that you will see inside you, write it down." And he saw you, all because his mind contained the vision of the future. He has been searching for disciples for several years. I helped him to choose. It was Joshua. He proved to be a devoted disciple and did his best to help Moses. They had contributed to the consciousness of all people, praising all the kingdom of God and me. Their thoughts brought God's teachings to every human, and that's how all that started. They can be understood since they were pioneers, and nothing could be compared with what they did. Yet Moses and Joshua survived everything. Disciple. Many people argue that death is the end of life, and immortality merely is bluff or dreams of humans. We want to be immortal, but it works differently, and only death can control everything. Teacher. If a person dreams about immortality, then he feels that there is something of God. If a person thinks that death is higher than God, then this person is a living dead. Even in life, he is indifferent to everything. This human lives with his death, and these people fade away very quickly in front of his eyes of those believing in immortality. It can be added that if it weren't for immortality, it would be worthless to make such a creation as man. Disciple. Excuse me, teacher, I need to interrupt you. Some people say that the earth is a global cemetery. We can only imagine how many people were buried here. Teacher. Well, I disagree with those who believe that earth is a cemetery, although for millions of years it took and embraced many people who ended their term in the physical body. I've often said that, and now I will repeat that the soul is the main thing in life, not the body. Let's say you like something, you got used to it, and after some time, this thing becomes useless. You regret that, but still you get rid of it. This thing turns into dust, but you stay. This is a straightforward comparison. The same thing happens to your soul. I admit that it can't decide when it should leave this body. It all depends on my decision. Then the soul makes its secret work. I repeat again, in my opinion, living without faith is suicide. Looking from the outside at some of the skeptics, it is incredible what kind of dirty things they say about me without even thinking about who gave them their immortal lives. I have always been both father and judge. You must be proud that you were born to see the light and rejoice that you were born forever. You will find peace of mind in immortality. Disciple. I've got a question recently. So if God exists, then why he takes outstanding people, scientists, actors, doctors, etc., too early in human terms, whereas drug addicts, alcoholics stay? Teacher. I take outstanding people first because I need them here. I understand that you feel sorry for such people, but I tell you, believe me, these people will bring much more benefit for you, even from my kingdom. How they'll do it, this will be a secret for now. As for the rest, I think it's already clear for you, and no need in saying that. Disciple. Again, about UFOs, but about those which we call object diving into the ocean or sea. Teacher. Yes, indeed. There are such VEOs which immerse in the depths of the ocean and stay there for a while. Dive duration is unlimited. Don't be afraid of them. They won't harm underwater world, since their dive is a checkup, purely ecological checkup of the marine realm. Question. About predictions of the future. In my opinion, it's very scary. Could you answer if it's possible to change something to make all those scary things pass by? We have enough sorrow and grief. We would like to see only light and joy, with other things fade into the darkness. Teacher. All the things men can't do can be done by God. Predictions, they are teachings, and all these universal things can be changed. It's much easier then to change you. The overmind decides what to do with the infinite great space, which also includes the earth. Let's say you want to see only light, but 4 people sitting in front of you will gloat and say that you are sent by the devil. What would you do in this case? Disciple. Teacher, I'm not sure what to say. Teacher. That's it. But I should act as I think I need to do. Disciple. You know that some things are still unclear to me, but I think that we deserved being punished, though not all of us. I'm pleading you to make all disasters pass us by. Maybe in the 3rd millennium, humanity will change for the better. But, teacher, Alexander, I understand everything and see everything. Look around and see what's happening. There is a real outage. Let's take an International Women's Day, the 8th of March, as an example, which can be, well, what can be learned from it. And this is what is happening when you congratulated some women, gave them flowers, whereas others, more specifically, elderly women who have lived a difficult life and went through all the hardships and misery, they now have to search for food in garbage cans. Nobody congratulated them. I'm embarrassed and hurt to see all of this. Now, think and decide what to do. Disciple. Teacher, now I understand everything, and I agree. May the justice make everything fair and decent regarding our behavior. I beg you again, and will be begging all the time. May the grief pass us by, and all the eternal stay eternal. Disciple. If we look at Moses' life, we'll see that sometimes he had certain doubts. Meanwhile, he did a lot since it's incredible loads of work to describe what he described. Is this true? Teacher, yes, it's true. The Old Testament is not only the work done, but it is also has the meaning. Moses worked a lot, but I was beside him. I am the Almighty who taught and talked to him. It was not a dialogue between an ordinary man and a demon, but between God and man. Though the meaning is, the reality is far above all disbelief. Yes, there were all sorts of things, and you all need to believe in what was said. Take the Bible and read it carefully. You'll feel something good, and when you fully feel it, you'll become better. Bible should be respected since it shows the face of God. Accept what is God's, and in this humility, you will feel consolation. Then you will take care of yourself to the glory of the impeccable truth. Dear readers, we will pause there and we will resume play another day. And the book entitled The Sacraments of Eternity. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I look forward to seeing you again all real soon. And until next time, be well, take care. Thank you, and God bless.